All right, so I had a user ask a question about being able to display a choice field in a SharePoint list, doing that within the new forms designer. So we'll do that. I already built my list out. It has a few fields in it already based on what the request was. So give it a second to load in. So what I'm doing is basically capture the title. Display type, this is a choice field, is coming from the SharePoint site, so you can see the choices coming through there. And then based on the type, wanting to show either hardware, software, and then obviously I want to capture name and version of that. One of the things to do here is, one of the things that I would recommend doing is creating two groups, one for hardware, one for software, and then bringing that in to that. Also, what I did to keep it simple was actually created one column in SharePoint. So these are tied directly to columns in SharePoint. HS name, so hardware, software name, and then you have hardware, software version. You can create duplicates of that, meaning you can have in SharePoint, you can have multiple. So you can have one that says hardware name, hardware version, software version. But in theory, they're both storing the same information. So as a result, I wanted to kind of just reuse that. And the way that will work is I would actually call that hardware name and then hardware version here. And then the same thing for software. I would just drag on to other options. And because I'm in SharePoint, I can actually connect it to the same column. So this will make sense after I do this. Essentially what we'll do is actually show and hide, so the user will only be able to fill in one or the other. And as a result, by doing that, you don't have to worry about, well, what if they fill in one and the other? They'll only be able to see one or the other at a time. So let's make this really a little bit more functional really quick. Change the group. And it's good to keep naming conventions of it around, so that you know when you're actually creating rules and things. It's good to kind of have the naming conventions in place. So I'm just going to do that and do the same thing for software. Do that really quick. And then here. And essentially with this, I have all this information. I'm going to slide this up to the top. So capture the title, and then based on the display type, show hardware, software. The way I want to achieve that is by using a rule. So before I do that, go to preview. So hardware, nothing changes. Software, nothing changes. And then you can choose whatever you want there. So if I left it as this, then you are correct that it could be one or the other. And if I were to type in like PC, and then you see how it's actually creating the same because they're both tied to the same thing, 2.0. And that's not what we want. So the way to get around that is to do show and hide using rules. Form input rule, actually just do one show hardware. And basically display type equals hardware, then we want the hardware group to become visible. Yes, otherwise the hardware group should be invisible. Set to no. I want to do the same with software, so I'll copy that. Makes it a lot easier. And just flip this software, and then change this group, and change this to group. Same rule applies, just flipped. So we'll go back to preview. Now nothing's showing hardware. So if I were to do this, it's be PC, then version 2.0, then that's the only information that gets filled in. Likewise, if I flip, obviously that's there. So there's some things you could do here to further enhance that. Then set it to visible else. You could also, in that case, we could clear it if we wanted to. And then also do version if we wanted to. And then the same thing for software if we need it. We don't need to do that, but again, if you're actually utilizing that, then that could be something to do. And we'll set the value here. And I'm actually curious if that will work. It should work. but we'll see. Let's do a test really quick. 2.0. So if I flip this, yep, there you go. So it resets it as well, and then submit. So I can do another rule on the submit button also. Then this is for validation. So validate input as an example. If the name is empty, then then no, actually let's just do the say type is equals a hardware, then hardware name is required. I can't do that. That's actually interesting. So this is a validation error. That's actually what I'm not doing the validation error. Actually, I want to set required. So I can do that here. So visible, this is what I meant to do. So make that required, yes. One thing I've learned, if you make something required, it's best to unrequire it as well. Just to reset things. Just something I've seen as well. So hardware, so now that's required. If I flip the software, you don't want that to be required still, even though it's not showing. So there's something to be aware of there. But that should answer your question and get you going. And how that is one way to actually utilize both the rules, show and hide, and also setting the value when something is visible or not visible. So, and there you go. All right.